have to win a lot more football games. There's no doubt about that. We're not running from that, but um, certainly we're all excited to continue to do great things here, and looking forward to next season already.
Did you have a conversation with the front office today? And if so, can you kind of fill us in and what was discussed?
No, we're in constant communication, and so again, we're moving on to next season, and excited to get that started.
Zach, in terms of staff changes, have you made decisions on coordinators in terms of Lou and Brian, if they're going to come back next year?
We'll continue to evaluate that as the week goes. I don't have any comments today on any specific staff changes. Again, I got belief in the guys that we do have in this building, and we'll continue to make those evaluations as the week goes.
Zach, how long have you known that you'd be back for a third season?
That was never important to me. I just come to work every single day and do my job, and focusing on doing as well as I can, and just let the chips fall where they may. And so today's just a normal day for me.
What
Zach,
gives you so much? Oh,
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Laura.
I was just gonna ask, what gives you so much belief that it'll be different in year 3?
Just the growth that we've seen in our players and our staff, and it's this league. You're always going to deal with injuries. And what that gave us an opportunity was to see a lot of players, who were maybe sitting at number 2 and number 3 on the depth chart when the season started. Gave us a great opportunity to continue to build for the future. Do look forward to getting a lot of guys back that are key parts of this thing. And, one important thing in this league is that your best players play. And unfortunately for us, we suffered some injuries at some key positions. Excited to get them back in the building, but also excited for the depth that we've developed here over the course of the season, and feel like that we're going to have a strong roster going forward.
Zach, will any staff changes be your decision, or will be decisions that are kind of made for you from above?
My decision.
Coach, what's your biggest priority as the offseason begins here? What's your biggest priority?
Well, continue to learn from some of the experiences that we had over the course of the season. And then, the first thing that pops up is free agency. So not only evaluating our own roster, but evaluating those players that will be available elsewhere. And then from there, it just all builds draft and so forth. And obviously this will be an unusual offseason. We don't yet know what it looks like, but again, we've handled everything that's been thrown at us so far. And so I look forward to seeing what this offseason brings for us.
You expect to be active in free agency, Zach, or is that still an unknown because of the cap?
Yeah, we'll continue to see where the cap's at and have those conversations moving forward these next couple of weeks. These last 17 weeks have been purely focused on helping this team win football games immediately. And so now it's day one of the offseason. We have plenty of time to make all those decisions and talk through it as we go forward.
Zach, where did you think you succeeded as a head coach this year, and where do you think you failed?
I think our team had opportunities in every game. And sometimes when your record late in the season is what it is, you see teams around the lose, they lose it a little bit. And I never felt that from our guys, our coaches, our players. They believe in what we're building here. I just believe it from how I see them going about their business every single day. And so I'm encouraged by the players we have in the building here, and that they're much better days ahead.
Zach, as you evaluate your staff, how much of your lack of success in the first 2 seasons from a record standpoint, how much does that play into being appealing to a potential defensive coordinator or a linebackers coach or whatever? I'm just naming random coaches, but to other coaches out there that you could be trying to bring in.
There's plenty of good football coaches that are available in this league, and we'll find the right fits if we ever, when we get to that point. Never have any concern with finding the right pieces of the puzzle here.
Mike Brown today released a statement to the fans. He said that next year you guys are going to reap the benefits of the last 2 years of hard work. Does that mean the expectation is to be a winning team next season?
That's my expectation. Certainly I'm tired of losing. We put in a lot of work and believe in the players that we have and the coaches we have, and certainly expect to win a lot more football games than we have. That's the standard that we have to set going forward.
Jack, do you think this job has proven to be a bigger rebuild than you anticipated it being when you showed up 2 years ago?
No, I just think we have dealt with the circumstances that have been forth. Losing your quarterback, losing your running back, losing some key pieces are always challenging. But again, there's a silver lining to that. You get a chance to evaluate some other players, and maybe some spots you got to coach differently with different pieces, and you learn a lot about yourself that you can learn from these experiences, because that's, you learn more sometimes from these difficult seasons than the seasons where you go to the Super Bowl and everything's easy. And so I wouldn't trade what's happened. Obviously, I would trade it for a lot more wins and championships. Don't mistaken me here. But I won't trade the experiences that we've had that we're able to build off of. Me personally, our coordinators, our position coaches, the players, there's going to be a lot to draw from going forward that we have learned that are going to make us better in the future. And so I'm excited to move forward on that path.
In kind of the same vein of that, Zac, when you took the job, did you expect that year 3 was going to be the pivotal year for you? Would have had 2 years, to kind of go through the roster, kind of install what you're looking for. Do you feel like, when you took the job, that year 3 was going to tell you exactly kind of where you were with the franchise and kind of what was it going to be like moving forward?
I never looked at it that way, to be honest with you, Ben, but certainly now after 2 years, you have a full grasp of the players' strengths, weaknesses, things that we need to improve, places we need to add, and so that's the exciting part is going into year 3. There's a lot of things that you're comfortable with and we need to address. So I'm excited to get the spring underway.
Coach, what do you have to do defensively? Do you have to add personnel? Do you have to change scheme? Both? I mean, I know it's early, but I mean, what's your gut thought on what you have to get done defensively?
That's part of what we'll evaluate. This season's just fresh. We were focused on just beating Baltimore the last 7 days. And again, day 1 of the offseason, we'll evaluate the scheme, we'll evaluate the players, we'll evaluate things we got to do better as coaches. That's just part of this offseason project that we got going forward.
Kind of expanding on that, what's on your list of things to do for January and February? What do your next 2 months look like?
Well, evaluating the things that we've done here in the building, first of all, from a scheme standpoint in our own players, that's the first thing that you got to look at. And then from there, it's, we got the All-Star games to get a chance to look at as it pertains to the draft, but free agency is really the first thing that looms from there.
Do you anticipate coaching the Senior Bowl?
No.
So you think it's fair to fire a coach after 2 seasons?
I don't want to speak to any of the circumstances, but some things do take time, and I know this is sometimes patience is hard to find in professional sports, college sports. It's tough because different people deal with different circumstances. And, I'm just appreciative that ownership sees the work that we're putting in and believes in what we're doing going forward. And so I can only speak to this place, and I'm very appreciative that they see what we're building here and they believe in it.
Zac, what's the timeline for Burrow to start throwing again? I mean, when do you expect to see him potentially throwing in the next few months? Or, I mean, what do you want to see between January and, let's say, March or April?
Yeah, I promise I'm not trying to cop out here. That's not something I've focused on yet. It was just focused on winning games. I really mean that. And now you get a chance to really follow up with these guys and set those plans forward that have already been set in motion by our training staff and people like that. But now I get a chance to really jump into those conversations and focus on that going forward.
Also, Trey Hopkins appeared to hurt his knee yesterday. Any update on that?
Right towards ACL, and he'll require surgery. So that is obviously not a fun Week 17 injury. He's one of those guys that has been all about everything we're trying to accomplish. He's been a really steady force in there at center for us. So that's difficult. So obviously it'll be a standard rehab there, but that's disappointing for Trey.
No other injuries that are going to require surgery to your knowledge, Coach?
Darius Phillips had a shoulder injury, and we'll keep getting more information on that to see what the plan is moving forward.
Was Higgins? Was that just a?
He was a hamstring. Yeah, it was a hamstring. So, nothing that's going to be major, but just rehab that hamstring.
He didn't tear it or anything.
Zach, I know you talked a lot about the benefits of coaching the Senior Bowl. Why wouldn't you want to do it this year?
I think now's a chance we'll still go down there. Make no mistake about it. So there's still a lot of information to gather there. But this year, just we'll let somebody else do it. But again, go down there and be as much a part of it as we can.
Zach, when reports get out about staff changes, possibly before you can even talk to the guys, how do you feel about that? And is that just part of the business now, or how do you react to those things getting out, even before you played the game yesterday?
It's unfortunate because if it doesn't come from us, then then who's it's not something we ever want to do before the season's over. So again, we're still having those conversations, and that's something we'll evaluate over the course of this week.
Do you have a timeline on when you will make your staff decisions?
Oh, just when the timing feels right, but we'll continue to evaluate it each day of the week.
2 more minutes with Coach.
Zach, how would you describe Lou Anarumo's year? What kind of job do you think he did in 2020?
I think he dealt with some tough circumstances in some instances, and got a lot out of the guys that were playing. And again, we got guys with great character out there who are doing exactly what we want them to do, and they're fighting their tails off. And Lou is a big part of that.
Also, the offensive line has been a source of conversation for a lot of you. You defended Jim a lot of the time here. I mean, what did you make of the offensive line play, and specifically Jim's job in his 2 years here?
Yeah, I thought that they had some really good moments, and I think Jim is a really good football coach. And so again, it's when your record is what your record is, nothing was ever good enough. And so we got to continue to evaluate all the players and everything that we're doing. Again, those guys had some good moments, and they had some moments where we got to improve. But again, that goes to this whole football team.
Zach, are the All-Star games definitely on? I mean, obviously, probably no crowds, all that sort of thing. But are the games themselves going to be played to everybody's knowledge?
I think each one's different. I'm hesitant to speak on that. It certainly sounds like the Senior Bowl is on, but I don't want to speak for anything else, because I don't yet fully have all that information.
The NFLPA is endorsing the idea of doing away with on-field OTAs, even though you guys did it last year and got through it. How important is that to you as coaches to be able to have the players on the field in the spring?
Yeah, we'll take every rep we can get every day that we get in there with them. Again, we'll see what information comes out as the next weeks unfold, just because the pandemic's still going on. But certainly, I love having the players around. I'll take every minute we get with them face to face. That'll be a nice change, hopefully, here in the near future. Actually, get those guys face to face and continue to teach that way. And of course, we'll eat up all the reps we can get on the field. So we'll just see how it plays out.
You'd have to say last year, major overhaul on both sides, rookie quarterback on offense, all those changes on defense. Do you anticipate another offseason with that much change, or do you think it's just a matter of just tweaking and adding rather than an overhaul?
Hard to say right now. Again, we will start those conversations as these weeks go forward here in the offseason.
What's the biggest thing that you kind of are going to look at in the way that your first 2 years have went? I mean, when you go back and you self-assess, what are some things that you want to kind of look at and evaluate and maybe fix or improve on going forward in year 3?
Well, each game was its own week where you really dove in and focused on Houston and Baltimore and Pittsburgh. And now it is honestly a chance to step back and watch it with the staff and go through each week, the schedule, the practice schedule, what our game plans were, what good stuff we did that carried over the season, things that we did a good job staying on top of, things that maybe were good for us early in the year that we got away from. So those are the things that you got to ask yourself and make sure that we can make the improvements where they need to be made. And again, we always feel like we're going to be better going forward with every decision that we make because we learn from our past experiences. And this year is certainly no different. There's a lot to learn from and a lot to improve on, and we won't run from any of it.
One last question.
Zach, you're a 365, maybe 366 day of work, a year work guy. Will you allow yourself any time to reset and relax, even briefly? And what would that look like?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I look forward to that, and again, it's been a long year for the people on this Zoom call, not just me, everybody who's dealt with changes. And so it is good. You go hard for 6 months, really. You do need to hit that reset button to kind of refresh yourself, spend time with family, whatever it is you do to get away. And again, I'm not just speaking for myself. That's everybody deserves that. So when that day comes, I'm not sure where it's at yet. There's still a lot of work to be done here in the near future, but certainly take a couple of days to myself.
All right, Coach, we'll let you go. We appreciate your time.
Okay. Thank you.